Hi, Caleb. Caleb submits this next one. He asks, when two of every animal went into the ark, why after the flood did dinosaurs become extinct? That's his first question. When two of every animal went into the ark, why after the flood did dinosaurs become extinct? Well, okay, we're having a Bible study, so honestly, if we want to simply consider what Scripture says, I if we're going to look at Scripture and we're even going to talk about dinosaurs, are dinosaurs likely mentioned in Scripture? Is there that possibility even? Are there some words that are often thought to be?
There are no dinosaur. The word dinosaur itself is not used, but the creature's Leviathan, I think, talks in Job.
We have a Leviathan and we have a behemoth.
And the word dinosaur didn't even come into the English dictionary until the 1800s or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's a much later word. But the thing is that if you read Job, it does seem that there was an animal that breathed fire. In fact, almost every single culture on the face of the earth has some kind of myth or legend about dragons. And it seems like in the book of Job that there's reality to that. And we know about the bombardier beetle. You know about the bombardier beetle? It's actually got it's got two reservoirs and it mixes two chemicals and it creates fire. And it's thought that the same kind of thing happened in reptiles, that they had the ability that fire, smoke, breathing reptiles. I mean, we seem to have that portrayed for us in the book of Job. What do we know? We know this. We know that there was a flood. We know that two of every animal was taken onto the ark. Now, what happened in the flood is everything died except what was on the ark. I mean, when we're talking about mammals and reptiles and amphibians, everything died except what was on the ark. So if they came off the ark and there were only two dinosaurs, well, why did they become extinct? Well, we don't know exactly why, but we do know this. We know that lots of animal species have become extinct, not just dinosaurs, lots of animals. Saber-toothed tigers, we know they existed, but they're not around anymore. We know that woolly mammoths existed, but they're not around anymore. Basically, what we know is this. If you go dig in the Antarctic, you find ferns. We know that the Earth in the past was more of like a greenhouse. We know that there were plants that grew at the poles. At least the North Pole is ocean, but the South Pole is a continent. We know that there was a time when it was green, when there was vegetation there, when there was life there. We know the Earth was like that. Many surmise that we had some sort of, God divided the waters above and beneath. And, we might say, well, the waters above were basically the clouds. But there is theory that perhaps there was a layer of water that was different than just clouds. Whatever the situation was, we know that after the flood, the climate on the earth massively changed. And so why did the dinosaurs go extinct? Well, it may be because after the flood, the climate on the earth was not conducive to great big massive dinosaurs any longer. Now we still have reptilian life lizards, snakes, turtles, but actually a turtle is what, an amphibian, like a frog and a toad, and we still have reptilian and amphibian life. It's just not huge. The reality is that we find that before the flood, we had fern leaves that were massive. We had dragonflies that were so big they about carry a person away. And so what happened? And we also had humanity that seems like it was quite a bit bigger. It seems like whatever happened to the earth post flood, that life, think with me here, even the lifespan of man became radically reduced. I mean, man was living to be almost 1,000 years old before the flood. And yet after the flood, man's lifespan fell off enormously. And so, it just seems like the earth became a much less conducive place for man and beast to live in. What happened to the dinosaurs? Maybe they're still here, they're just smaller. Maybe they were hunted to extinction. Perhaps just the climate was not conducive and they died out. But I mean, look, the reality is that if you're Noah and his sons, and you really hated those dinosaurs anyway because they went around and they were chewing up on people and spitting fire and nobody could control them, and now there were only 2 in the whole world, it's like, hey, before those things start to multiply, maybe we ought to off those things. I mean, did they hunt them to extinction? Who knows? But the bones are there. Hey, not only are the bones there, they've actually found blood cells. They found tissue cells on the dinosaurs now. And so, is there even possibility as science advances that we could get to the place where they could actually replicate the DNA, because they've actually been able to find it? They've made movies where they've been able to find mosquitoes that were somehow buried in the ice or something, and mosquitoes that had sucked the blood of dinosaurs, and they were able to create them again. That may be able to happen in the future. Who knows? But
are you prophesying Jurassic Park right now?
I don't know. But listen, what we do know is this: we know that they've actually dug up dinosaurs where they've actually found tissue, they've found blood cells. And so we know they're not millions and millions of years old. We know they died much closer to us than that. So be careful about science. Science has all sorts of theories, but they're typically wrong, and they're anti-God, and they're constantly trying to disprove Scripture. But we've got a place over here, just up north here in Texas, where they've unearthed all sorts of dinosaur bones and dinosaur tracks. And they actually found human footprints in the dinosaur tracks. Now, the spacing of the feet of this man running, his stride was massive. Like it was like I think a size 17. You may not know what that is in American shoe size, but it was like a size 17 foot, and the stride was massive, like it was a giant of some sort. And yet they found human footprints in the dinosaur footprints. And of course, modern science, they don't want to see that. They don't want to take pictures. They don't want to report it. They don't want to believe it. So you just want to be careful. Somebody, I don't know who it is, but somebody got me on, and it might be Answers in Genesis themselves. Maybe they've seen my stuff on the internet. They just started sending this to me. But these Answers in Genesis, it's the Creation Institute. It's Ken Ham, and yeah, they've got really interesting stuff, and they've got some on dinosaurs, and anyway, they're a good resource. I found their stuff interesting. I mean, Ken Ham may not dot every I as far as where we're at theologically, but that stuff tends to be good. Anyway, that's just the truth is, Caleb, we don't really know, and but we can surmise some theories. What we do know is it does seem that the Bible does have some things to say about them, and it also has much to say about a flood. And we definitely know that man's lifespan drastically fell off. So things changed.